Welcome to another Bright News discussion. And I'm here with a special guest, man. This is one of my favorite guys to talk to and get information from and knowledge. So that's none other than Surit Dasgupta, man. So, Surit, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Shannon. What about you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. Yeah. So, is it hot over there? Is it summertime in India for you?
It's monsoon time right now.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
yeah, thankfully, the summertime is passing away.
Okay.
So, nobody likes the summer here. Everybody's sweaty.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, hot. So,
Mhm.
monsoon is cooled down the temperature bit. So,
Okay.
that's welcoming. So,
Okay. And and
yeah.
it and so the monsoon that brings in what the rain and
Yeah.
cooler weather. Okay.
Yeah. Rain, a little humidity, but lots of rain.
Okay.
Lots of rain, yeah.
Okay.
And monsoon will soon give way to winter.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh, ooh, man. All right. Well, yeah, we wanted to talk today about something that sort of interesting here, and that's Christianity in India, right? And
yeah,
sort of how Christianity is sort of affected or is still, having some kind of effect on the Indian culture, right, and Indian uh, ways of thinking, and everything. And so I'm just wondering, maybe I guess the first question would be, you know, what would you, what is the response from a lot of Indians who are, you know, who are Christians? Like what would they say about Christianity living in a country that is not predominantly Christian? It's a minority religion, I believe, right? Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on your perspective, right? Like if you look online and if you look at the influencers and social media and all of that, you might get the impression that a lot of Indians are hostile to Christianity.
Hmm.
But the reality is, like, that's a very tiny segment of the population.
Okay.
A majority of Hindus, like majority of Indians are Hindus. So,
Hmm.
majority of Hindus actually don't have a problem with Jesus.
Hmm.
Uh, if you walk into a church, any random church, typical Catholic churches, and these kind of like big church buildings.
Hmm.
If you walk into these churches in India, you'll find more Hindus there than Christians.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the reason for that is because a lot of Hindus see Jesus, are actually attracted by Jesus.
Hmm.
They see Jesus as a kind of, a Gautam Buddha kind of figure,
Hmm.
and they don't have any problems praying to Jesus
Hmm.
because, Hindus typically have what's known as a bhakti mindset.
Okay.
A bhakti is a devotee,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
So a devotee is like, uh, if they see some guru who is speaking in the regular language of the people,
Hmm.
local languages, and not being like too holier than thou, don't
Hmm.
touch me, that kind of thing. If
Hmm.
if 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 any Hindu sees that kind of a figure, an approachable figure, whom they feel that they they can answer their prayers,
Hmm. Hmm.
they'll do it,
Yeah.
and you see a lot of, like, in where I live in Bengal, the state that I live in, there's a lot of Hindus who keep pictures of Jesus right beside
Hmm. Hmm.
the images of Hindu deities.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they don't mind Jesus
Yeah.
normally. uh, yeah.
Yeah. So they do they so that they you said they see him. more of as a Buddha figure or sort of like the
Yeah,
reincarnation of a Buddha or something like that, right?
yeah, exactly. One of the avatars, if you will, of God.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And so with that, because I've seen that before. I've seen like maybe movies or something like that, or shows, or even
because
yeah.
like you have to understand what is Hinduism.
Hmm.
Hinduism is not a very codified religion.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
codified like it's like you would say Islam or
Right.
Christianity or even
Right.
Buddhism.
Yeah.
Hinduism is basically an amalgamation, like a what would you call it? A coming together of various belief systems
Right.
that have developed over the ages,
Right.
that have developed over the history of India.
Right.
So so like
It's almost it's
you can.
almost it's almost similar to maybe what you might say of like a pre-Christian religious, ideas. Like the Greeks,
Yeah,
would say, okay, I have my patron god, or the city, the city has a
right.
patron god. We recognize that there are, are other gods, but that like this is our main one, or something like that, right?
Right. It didn't even have that name. You're right with the like how the Romans uh, appropriated the beliefs of the Greeks, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Hinduism, this thing called Hinduism, did not even have like it did not even know itself by that name, Hinduism.
Okay.
That's like it was given to it by because of the river Sindh. When the invading armies from the west came
Hmm.
over to India, they identified the people of India as the people of the river Sindh. So like
Okay.
Sindh, Hind, and that's why how Hinduism the name came.
Okay.
So a lot of Hindus nowadays, the Hindu nationalist types,
Hmm.
they like to say that Hinduism is actually Sanatan Dharma, which is like universal religion.
Okay. Mm.
You know,
Hmm.
so that's like Catholic
Hmm.
universal. So
Hmm.
they like to borrow it from there some
Okay.
to some extent.
Okay.
So they want to like the point they are making in naming themselves as the universal religion is like they have by their own admission,
Hmm.
co-opted a lot of belief systems from a
Hmm.
lot of people that have migrated to India or like invaded India over the ages.
Hmm.
So if you this is all the more obvious if you read the earliest literature of Hinduism, the Vedas.
Right.
Yeah, not the Bhagavad. The Bhagavad Gita is much more later. Some
Hmm.
dispute, some argue that's even that came later than Christianity.
Right.
But if you
Right.
the earliest are the Vedas. If you read the Vedas, a lot you will find very little resemblance with that to what is Hinduism nowadays.
Right.
So you can of the of the cuff you can see that a significant development has taken place.
Yeah. Yeah.
By reading those earliest texts.
Let me ask you this, man. Like, okay, there used to be this, I don't know if this is still a thing, or a still an ongoing debate or argument, right? But there used to be this debate in the early 2000s about, you know, where sort of in the Indus Valley civilization and, like the origins of say Indians and modern day Indians and stuff. And they would, argue that, some scholars would argue, well, you know, um, people from the steppe, from the, I guess what is like modern day Ukraine or something like,
Yeah.
they migrated, eastward, you know,
Yes.
um, to India, and that the Vedas are actually a a a primary source to look at their journey from like the West to into India, right? but some and then this of course leads into the whole idea of, okay, are Indians actually um, sort of a mixed group of people, like they're
Yeah.
Indo-Aryan as well as Dravidian, like South Indian, and that all that whole makeup plays into their culture and the religion and everything, and like you talked about, like there was this sort of syncretism between Indo-European religious beliefs and, say, you know Dravidian ideas, I mean, or beliefs. Do you believe that there was a sort of a migration of Indo-Europeans into India?
Well, no doubt. As it now, what kind of people migrated or invaded? That's up for debate. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people, there's as you alluded to, some have the Aryan invasion theory.
Hmm.
Like some believe that the Aryans invaded and clashed with the Dravidians, and what we have today is as a result of that.
Hmm.
Some believe that a much more Persian kind of people
Hmm.
invaded. So that is not clear. But if you look at the ancient mythologies, case in point, the Ramayana,
Hmm.
you know, the Lord Rama and his army invades Lanka,
Hmm.
and Lanka is ruled by the king Ravan.
Okay.
Ravan, the ten-headed king.
Okay.
Like
Mhm.
he has 10 heads.
Yeah.
So, so yeah. So like, if you look at those mythologies,
Hmm.
it's very obvious that it's talking about a historical phase in India where an army from the north expanded deeper into the south.
Hmm.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but a lot of people speculate that the ones who are depicted as, you know the enemies in that story, Ravan, king,
Hmm.
the ten-headed emperor,
Hmm.
his land, his people, they are much more darker in complexion,
Okay.
which can mean that these people are Dravidians,
Right. Okay.
and Ravan is much more fair complexion, which means they might be aliens.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is just speculation. I don't know the exact truth
Yeah.
of this,
Yeah.
but it's not. It wouldn't be far from the truth.
Yeah.
That's a very plausible theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also tells you, like, you're familiar with Girard. So if you,
Yes.
it also tells you how scapegoating and mythologies work,
Mm.
even
Mm.
in
Yeah.
Indian mythologies, right?
Yeah.
Like the emperor, right? Regardless of if he was Dravidian or not, but he was totally like a mythologized portrayal of an enemy who was defeated,
Right.
right? So he is
Right.
depicted as this otherized, human
Yeah.
demon hybrid figure
Yeah.
who is guilty of a lot of sadistic things. So
Right.
therefore, it's justifiable to conquer his empire and
Right.
establish a new, Indian
Yeah.
order of things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting, and I never thought about that because I'm familiar with um the two epics, the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, you know, which interesting.
Gita is actually a portion of the Mahabharata, which
Oh,
is
it's a
spoken.
portion. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a selection. Like Gita
Okay.
is basically, Mahabharata is like an epic, multi volume poem,
Yeah.
or an
Okay.
epic, like the Iliad, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
and Bhagavad Gita is like a portion from selected from that story,
Wow.
where Arjuna is just about to go to war,
Yeah.
and he is asking Krishna, who is his chariot driver.
Hmm.
Krishna is like one of the incarnations of Vishnu, who is like the highest deity in
Hmm.
Hinduism.
Hmm.
So he is asking Krishna, who is an avatar of God,
Yeah.
basically. He is
Yeah.
asking Krishna, shall I kill all these people who
Yeah.
are facing me in the battlefield?
Hmm.
Because a lot of these people are members of my own family.
Hmm. Hmm.
And Krishna is like telling him the meaning of life, reincarnation, and all of that thing, and in those things, he's also telling him that you should go and kill your enemy because that's your duty.
Hmm.
That's your duty as a soldier,
Okay.
right? To kill without question.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what the Bhagavad Gita is.
Wow. Wow. So this whole thing of duty, right? And the concept of duty, where would you say that is coming from a Hindu perspective, right? Because, you know, um, I, I, in Western society, we believe in duty too, right? I mean, like, if you're a father, it's your duty to take care of your, children. If you're a husband, it's your duty to, be a husband. If and things like that. So we have that too, but this sort of seems to be more of a coming from a philosophical, religious perspective that your duty really lies in your office or like your status in society. So like if you were I'm assuming like if in the caste system, if you were born into the warrior class, then that's your duty to do that. So you shouldn't feel, um,
Conflicted.
yeah, affected, or like it's immoral or something, because that's your calling. That's the way you were sort of born. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The duty is very much linked to the caste system,
Mhm.
and the caste system is not as simplistic. Like there's not a few castes, there are many castes.
Right.
So I don't have the exact
Yeah.
chart or graph, but
Right.
you can see like like if you are born into a certain family of a certain profession,
Hmm.
that's your caste, and therefore that's your duty.
Hmm. Hmm.
So a lot of Hindus would like to argue that caste system is not intrinsically evil because all societies have hierarchies, all
Right.
societies have and like their roles.
Right.
Like if you go to Japan,
Yeah.
there's you have to play a certain role,
Right.
right?
Right.
You have a role in society and you should not deviate from the role.
Yeah.
And the Japanese, like Indians sometimes will say that it's very important that you fulfill your duties and your roles, because if you deviate from your role, uh, you are sort of creating a chaotic chaos in society,
Hmm.
right? And the Japanese like to give the example of, like, we have so many earthquakes, so many
Hmm.
tsunamis, and this and that. If we are not able to be organized in in face of these natural disasters,
Hmm.
then we won't survive at all. And they have a
Hmm.
point to a
Yeah.
degree. But
Yeah.
here's the thing: in our modernized way of world, in our modern world,
Hmm.
we assume that that's somehow unnatural.
Hmm.
We assume that the caste system is somehow unnatural.
Right.
It's not actually, because that was basically the entire ancient world before
Right.
Christianity became dominant.
Right.
you know like
Right.
if there was no such thing as individual liberties or some concept of rights during
Right.
those times,
Right.
and we are able to have these things only because of the Christian rise of Christianity.
Yeah.
you know it,
Yeah.
the countries that were saturated with Christianity, it
Hmm.
is only in these countries where you have mobility, upward mobility
Yeah.
in status. Like you have a rags to riches story,
Right.
that kind of thing. It's only
Right.
in Christian
Society.
countries,
Yeah.
Christian societies.
Yeah.
So a lot of the when you look at the suspicion towards Christianity in Eastern countries, India, one of them,
Hmm.
or sometimes even hostility towards Christianity, you have to know the reason why they are like that.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
because you are actually threatening the bedrock of the civilization,
Right.
the order of the civilization.
Right. Right.
So they see it as like I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
The caste system is so rigid in
Mm-hmm.
India.
Mm-hmm.
You not only will you not find intermarriages between the castes, or not only are they not allowed to you know mingle with each other
Mm-hmm.
freely,
Mm-hmm.
but they also won't even eat the food that is cooked by another, a
Wow.
person of the lower caste.
Wow.
You've of course heard about the untouchables, right? The
Yes.
Harijans that Gandhi talked
Yeah.
about.
Mm-hmm.
So they have these very rigid boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these boundaries are very sacrificial,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Sacrificial because if you they're tabooistic, right? If you break these boundaries, you are liable to get punished.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is it now? Are they being punished? Do they believe that if you upset the order of things, you're you're set upsetting the order of things, you're going to be punished by the deities, or is it, you know what I'm saying? Like you.
by proxy, the deities, the punishment from deities, like in the scapegoat mechanism, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So what is the scapegoat mechanism? The scapegoat mechanism is seen as punishment of the gods
mhm,
by via the human crowd as a proxy,
mhm.
so in that way, so if you break the boundaries, you are liable to get punished by society, and that punishment will be seen as divine retribution.
Okay. Okay.
So if imagine in that kind of a society,
Hmm.
you're bringing a gospel which says, here's the Eucharist,
Hmm.
everybody can take it.
Hmm.
You don't
Hmm.
have to be a Brahmin, you don't
Hmm.
have to be a Dalit
Hmm.
to forgive it. So you imagine the threat that places that poses to the society.
Right.
You know
Right.
that's why like Shannon, we take the Christian message so casually.
Yes.
We don't see how radical it was. Like, just imagine, who was it? Was it the disciple who went to Cornelius? What was his name? Was it Peter?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
Mhm.
imagine God showing that vision to Peter.
Yeah.
Now nothing is unclean, and everything is clean, has been made
Yeah.
clean for you.
Yeah.
Kill and eat.
Yeah.
That is such a radical message in
Yes.
those terra, because
Yeah.
the Jews basically regarded the Gentiles as untouchables
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's amazing. I didn't, you never really sort of, it's like you said, when I suppose people in the West, we don't, we're not able to properly conceive of a society without even the appearance of Christianity, right? Like we can't process that, bro. And I think for us, when we see places like India, or let alone like even Japan, right, which has had a very close, political um, ties to America. Japan is still seen as this very, you know, like,
exotic.
yeah, exotic foreign place. You know what I'm saying? Or even, you don't even got to go that far, bro. Hawaii, right? That
Yeah,
scene is like a really, it's like, oh, these people, they still do these ancient dances, and they do these ancient things. And Americans at the same time in the West, I think also, like you say, okay, as Christians, we don't really see the effects, what the effects of Christianity have been, on these other societies, but we don't see the effects it's had on us either, because
right.
we're so used to it. You know what I mean? Like you go
Yeah,
everywhere and it's like, yeah, that's a church. You know what I mean? Or whatever.
right.
And we don't take it seriously, right? But when you hear something like what you said with the whole thing of like, you know, Christ coming in and establishing this whole thing of, everyone is a son or daughter of God, right? And you have to be, you have to believe in me, right? And believe that,
Yeah,
that I am the way, right? And that, this is my my this is truly my body and my blood, right? That everyone can partake in. Sounds so um what's the word? That sounds crazy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
To a society that, you know what I'm saying, just can't process that. And I think in the West, because that's something that we have um, been sort of debating over and talking about, and and everything. Um, the true presence, of Christ in the body and blood, and that everyone can participate in this, you know, a liturgy, and the
yeah,
feast. Um, we take that for granted. So that's what I was trying to say. The West, we take it for granted, right?
yeah.
But in places where Christianity doesn't exist, they take it as like a threat. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it depends, bro. Like, so they take it like I was referring to, like those Indians who take Christianity as a threat,
Yeah,
the nationalist, the Hindu nationalist types,
yeah, yeah,
uh, they take it as a threat because of the reasons I just talked
yeah,
about, right?
yeah, yeah.
But there are, on the flip side of that, there are those Indians who clamor, who yearn for Christianity
Hmm.
because of exactly the same reasons I talked about. It's a
Hmm.
liberating experience for
Hmm.
them,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
because those people don't have to be, it's like the Japanese,
Yeah.
like for the Japanese society, shame
Hmm.
is like the most it's like the worst thing you can imagine.
Hmm.
If the society shuns you
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
like shames you,
Yeah.
it's like the worst thing that you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in India,
Hmm.
like if you feel neglected, like a lot of the lower caste people who were some of the most numerous converts to Christianity, by the way,
Okay.
the lower caste people,
Hmm.
uh, they convert to Christianity sometimes, in spite of the threats, they it, despite being lower caste,
Hmm.
they can still get imprisoned or
Okay.
beat up on by other Hindus,
Right.
even by their own, even by, like, let's say there are two lower caste people, me and another person, right?
Yeah.
And if, let's say, if I convert to Christianity,
Hmm.
that other lower caste person might beat me up because of that, you
Wow.
know. So
Wow.
it's like a very dominant, submissive kind of like programmed thing that's
Yeah.
been built into society,
Now,
right?
now, 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 let me ask you this, because you're saying that, right? Now, because India has, I think, different denominations of, Christianity, right? Okay, so when you're saying that, like okay, there's a you you come from the same caste, but say the one guy might come from the more, say, like he might be a Malankara Christian or something, right? And the other Indian is like, say, Protestant or something. Does that sort of create this sort of friction in the sense that, like, the Indian who belongs to the sort of more traditional, Christian tradition, do they look down on the Protestant or whatever? I mean, Westerners
Right.
do that shit too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you're not a Catholic, or you're not Orthodox, or well, you're not a Lutheran, or Pentecostal, so you don't, you know what I'm saying? You're not the right kind
Yeah.
of Christian. Yeah.
It's a little bit complicated, but I think you are correct to like this is something that has unfortunately goes on in
Mhm.
certain parts of India.
Mhm.
Like we spoke about the caste system.
Mhm.
The caste system exists in some part of India, even amongst the Malankara and the Catholic churches,
Mhm. Mhm.
not so much in the Protestant churches.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So the reason for that is, uh, when some of the earliest missionaries came, I'm not talking about the missionaries from, say, Saint Thomas's time. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about the missionaries who came later on, like the Portuguese missionaries,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
The Jesuits.
Jesuits,
Mm-hmm.
those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was kind of like their strategy to convert first the Brahmins
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
Christianity,
Okay.
because their logic was that, uh, if you if you convert the dominant
Yeah.
ca-
The
dominant
upper
class of
class.
people, the upper class,
Mm-hmm.
then others will follow them.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, they did convert a lot of people, but what unfortunately ended up happening is, uh, even today you can see, uh, in some of these churches there's Brahmin
Mm-hmm.
Christians
Mm-hmm.
and Dalit Christians,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and they have segregated places of worship.
Wow. Okay.
So this is like, this is unfortunately exists in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thankfully, thanks to, and we have to give the Protestants some credit here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, the Protestants, when they came over here, and when they uh, started preaching the gospel,
Mm-hmm.
the caste system was confronted by a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Christians, in churches, and it's being discouraged nowadays a
Right.
lot.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah, it still exists, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of like confrontation towards it.
Yeah. 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 So go like talking about Gerard, and everything like with Christianity, the way that I see this man is kind of like the West has sort of already kind of gone through this process. I suppose what I'm thinking here, that the West has already gone through this process, of caste or whatever, like
Yeah,
I mean, because it was that way with in America and in Europe and stuff, like people who were considered, I mean, if you weren't white, and then on top of that, if you weren't white aristocracy, you weren't
yeah,
allowed to sit in the church in the front, or, unless,
yeah,
you had to sit in the balconies, or they would like put another church, you know what I'm saying, for you to go to, right? And so, you know, we see that as like, India is so, America, oh, India is so backwards, you know what I mean? But my thing
yeah,
is like, I think it's a process. They're going through, India is going through a certain process that, you know, and this is in Africa too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be real about that.
yeah,
It's probably in other Asian countries as well, that they are going through this process of understanding Christendom, right? And understanding Christianity, and sort of, uh, you know, the teachings of like charity and, forgiveness, right? Not not retribution, right? Healthy reciprocity, you know what I mean? Um, charity and giving and stuff like that. So, I know people have strong, views about certain things that go on in the in the Middle East, and in India, South Asia and Asia and everything in Africa. But you were saying that there's a lot of Indians who are feeling more comfortable moving in, coming towards Christ. And I wonder if that's, it's almost like just a slow process. More and more people want to know, they're interested, you know, there's sort of a, you know, um, they feel freer, or liberated, and stuff like that.
yeah,
And is there any like a crackdown on that or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you said, well, they're
yeah.
upset in the order. So they,
Yeah,
you know, yeah.
there are like and some states towards the north especially
Hmm.
have and these thing called anti-conversion laws.
Okay.
So in some of these states, and we're talking about some of the most populous states in India,
Hmm.
in the north, you cannot convert to Christianity. It's
Wow.
forbidden by law. In
Wow.
fact, like most recently, it's like a big story here in India. I don't know why it has not gained worldwide attention. I
Hmm.
hope it does,
Hmm.
because that's one aspect of India that a lot of Westerners don't know,
Hmm.
and they should know about this.
Okay.
Two Catholic nuns were arrested
Okay.
and detained. Even now, they have been arrested simply on the suspicion, not because they have any hard evidence or anything,
Yeah.
but simply on the suspicion that they were converting some people.
Okay.
And the suspicion was there because they were carrying these pocket-sized Bibles with them.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
So you can just imagine, like,
Yeah.
the level of crackdown.
Yeah.
And there are multiple videos online. If you search for it, you can see it,
Hmm.
of Hindu mobs
Hmm.
breaking into churches
Hmm. Hmm.
and threatening people
Hmm.
to, disperse,
Hmm.
or gathering outside of congregations and
Hmm.
threatening people to disperse.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of mob vigilante going on.
Yeah.
Uh, and the police are, like, by law, it's not allowed for mobs to, do things like these, but the police often turn a blind eye to these
Hmm.
kind of incidents.
Right. Right.
And it just proves what I've been saying.
Yeah.
It's because these people, they're not doing this out of anger,
Right.
they're not doing this because they feel superior or anything
Yeah.
like that. They're doing this because they feel threatened,
Yeah. Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
things that I said, because Christianity in large part has, destroyed the caste system
Hmm. Hmm.
generally, because even today it has made it like, you have let's go back to the 19th century,
Hmm.
right around the time when the British were solidifying their grip on the entire country.
Hmm. Hmm.
So during that time, they made it illegal for certain things.
Hmm.
And one of those things was discrimination on the basis of caste.
Right. Hmm.
Uh, so they and I'll have to give credit to a lot of Hindus as well for
Hmm.
this. A lot of you may be familiar with the Bengal Renaissance people.
Hmm.
A lot of
I
these
do.
reformers,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, a lot of
Okay.
these reformers who were influenced heavily by Christianity,
Hmm.
who read the Bible, who read Western literature,
Hmm.
and who saw how what an unjust thing this caste system is.
Yeah.
So they led the movement. The British had their back,
Hmm.
and they were successful in outlawing discrimination on the basis of caste. So
Hmm.
this thing, like, you could not find. So this is very important for our Hindu audiences especially, and
Yeah.
also for our Christian audiences as well.
Yeah.
You cannot find any such radical reforming movement against the caste system before the British arrived.
Okay.
During the time of the Muslims, or the time of the Hindus, the Hindu empires, the Maratha Empire or the Cholas, or whatever.
Hmm.
There's no
Okay.
such. Yeah,
Okay. Well, now that you said that, let's talk. So, you know, so yes, you didn't find the ending of the caste system with the Hindus and the Muslims. Okay. Um, so Islam, came to India, what, in the, I don't know, 10th century, 11th century, or something like that.
yeah,
Late
around that
medieval
time.
ages. Yeah.
Yeah,
So do you think Islam had an effect on, like, it had no effect on the caste system in Hindu in sort of Indian culture in
I
a
don't think
positive
so,
light. Okay. Yeah.
because we already mentioned about the caste system carryovers into certain
Hmm.
segments of Christian churches in India,
Hmm.
and there's also a caste system in Islam as well.
Oh wow.
There's
Okay.
like there's it's very funny because I know a couple of Muslim friends of mine
Hmm.
whose surnames or titles are Sayyid,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
because their titles are Sayyid, they say that we are directly a descendant from the Prophet's
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
clearly see that they're not Arabic,
Right.
they don't come from that region. They're like Indians.
Yeah.
And like, dude, you're Indians. Your
Yeah.
ancestors were probably Hindus. What are you talking about? So there's like
Yeah.
these. It's not rigid. They don't announce it to everybody,
Yeah.
but you can, if you mingle with them, you can certainly see that there's like a pseudo caste system
Yeah.
within Indian Muslims as well.
Yeah. Wanting to be part of sort of a this sacred noble family or some
Yeah,
having ties to yeah having
yeah.
ties to holy men or yeah stuff like that.
So
Yeah.
during and also like to look at it historically, during the Mughals, the time of the Mughals or like the Delhi Sultanates,
Hmm.
the you still won't find any mass movement or any kind of organized campaign against castes, the existence of the caste system.
Right.
So if the Muslims even had any intentions of abolishing the caste system, clearly they did not wish to go to beyond a certain extent with it,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if you were like, they would say, yeah, convert to Islam,
Yeah.
and you will be freed of caste.
Hmm.
But this is different with, it was different with the British. The British did not, whether you were Hindu, Muslim, or Christian, they did not allow this period,
Hmm.
regardless of which religion you belong to. A lot of Hindus and a lot of Indians in general like to scapegoat the British
Hmm.
for some of the ills of the society.
Hmm.
But like, there's a lot of things that they should give credit to the British for,
Yeah.
because these are like, Indians are able to say that we hate this caste system. It's like a backwardness that exists in our society.
Hmm.
They're able to say that because it was the British who made it possible for them to say
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. That's well that and that's the thing, right? That's you will say, well, yeah, sure, Christianity was packaged sort of in an imperial, you know,
Right.
as an imperial gift, right?
No, I mean,
But but
to be fair,
yeah,
I'm just giving I'm just looking at it, or I'm trying to look at it objectively.
yeah,
I'm not
right,
saying the British were completely, like, saintly or
yeah,
anything like that.
yeah,
Obviously, they sort of undermined Christianity in a lot of ways,
right,
like when they created these country clubs with
hmm,
signs outside, dogs
hmm,
and Indians not allowed. They
hmm,
sort of undermined those kind of things.
yeah,
But let's give them the credit that's due.
yeah,
Like, let's give them the credit, like the railway system, the
yeah,
post office,
yeah,
the postal system. All of
yeah,
these things.
yeah,
It was the British who helped set these up.
right,
It wouldn't be possible. Like, if you come to India today, Shannon,
yeah,
and if you travel via train to a lot of Indian localities,
yeah,
you are effectively using the same system that the British established, the same
wow,
railway system that they've established.
wow,
You know,
yeah,
a lot of the trains, the technology, it's still from that era, bro.
wow,
Very little have advanced. I mean, you'll probably, and this is so funny, you'll probably read a lot of news stories about how Modi unveiled this bullet train over there
yeah,
and this bullet train over there. Those are not widespread. Those are like, token technologies that operate in certain sections.
okay,
Uh,
okay,
the much more widespread technology you will see are the ones established by the British.
okay, wow,
So you can
that's
just imagine. I mean,
yeah,
just imagine the engineering and ingenuity of the British,
yeah,
the system that they had established more than 100 years ago,
yeah,
or like somewhere around that time, are
yeah,
still ticking to this day.
yeah,
The buildings that they have created, the
yeah,
churches, all of these churches and these colonial administrative centers with this Gothic architecture, and all of these places, they are still in tip-top shape, and
mhm.
you'll see in fact it's the modern Indian buildings that are crumbling down, that look like they are centuries old. So
It's crazy.
it's like, and this is like this is due to a kind of like arrogance, if you will,
Mhm,
because like Indians have gotten used to patting themselves on the back,
mhm,
and we've lost, you can say we've lost the motivation
mhm.
to, to
Yeah,
advance
mhm,
technologically, or, in the economic areas.
mhm.
And we are easily satisfied by
Yeah,
just, the bare minimum.
right,
And
right.
this is an unfortunate thing, and I think this is because of the lack of Christian uh, you know undertaking, the lack of engagement with Christianity,
Yeah,
because the entertainment and the media that Indians are exposed today
right.
are largely secular media,
Okay, okay.
that try to teach, that try the secular media that teaches that you are okay just the way you are, your
Mm,
culture is
okay.
okay just the way it
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know
And like, like having a heavy critique of like Western society coming
yeah,
in to bring their values and stuff like that.
yeah,
But that's funny because I'm like, okay, uh, it's kind of like cherry picking, right? Because you know, they like the Hollywood stuff. They
yeah,
even got a name for it, Bollywood.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they like all that stuff. You know what I mean? All that right there. You know what
yeah.
I mean? I
Song
remember
and dance.
this movie, you remember that movie, Monsoon Wedding? Have you ever seen
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I mean, I've heard of it. I've seen some portions of it,
Yeah,
but I haven't,
yeah,
like, I haven't watched the entire thing. But I get what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah. They like all the poppy stuff, all the glitz and glamour, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
right,
Um, which American culture and Western culture did try to do that. I mean, that was the whole thing of the entertainment industry. Like we wanted to influence. That's how I think Americans influenced the rest of the world was through
right.
entertainment, right? That was our gift to the world, right? And over time, yeah, it became destructive and stuff like that. And then, you know, yeah, academically, I would say you're right because one thing is that a lot of academics in the West, you know, they praise other religious traditions.
Yeah.
They say, Hindu, and I remember, man, there used to be, there were all these professors, Columbia and Yale and, Stanford and Harvard, and they'd be doing all these studies on the ancient texts and
I mean, it's not just the academics, bro. It's like, uh, just think about it.
yeah,
Indians, Hindus
hmm
are free to propagate their religion freely in
yeah.
the United States and the United Kingdom.
And we eat it up
They
like it's, we love it.
Yeah, it's like there's so many, yeah, like we would I would stand, like when we were kids, I would stand in the street corner and laugh whenever I see white people with Hare
The
Rama, Hare
Hare Krishnas,
Krishnas
the
and
Hare
jumping
Krishnas,
dance.
bro. Don't
Yeah,
laugh
Hare
at the Hare
Krishna.
Krishnas, bro.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, but like the point I was trying to make, brother,
Yeah,
is that you can, the they to the extent, like, the Western countries look at Christianity much more suspiciously than these Oriental religions,
yeah, yeah,
and on the flip side, India is very much like the opposite of that.
yeah, yeah,
Like, they look at Christianity suspiciously.
Yeah.
And so you can see like the one-sided way, like it's not an even playing field. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's because of the generosity and the tolerance
Hmm.
that Western civilization inherited from Christianity.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. 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 And they, I notice when I see a lot of the, Westerners who like, they want to be a part of the, Krishna movement and everything. There is this sort of like equating him to Jesus, you know, very
Yeah,
kind, very giving, you know, only difference is he has blue skin, you know what I mean? So, there
yeah.
is this sort of,
That blue skin, by the way, that's not actually blue skin. That's dark skin. So that's
really,
like an artistic. Yeah, Krishna is his name. Another name of his is I forgot the name, but it means the dark skinned one, the dark
oh,
complexioned one. So he's
okay,
actually dark skinned.
okay.
I don't know why they painted blue. Maybe they're afraid of portraying him as dark skinned in artistic
Mm,
images. I don't know why,
yeah.
but that's actually the real intent. It's
Wow. I never knew that. That's interesting. That's interesting.
yeah.
Wow. 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 Yeah, man. Okay. Okay. So
He's not
now
blue skinned like those creatures from Star Wars, Star Trek. You know, like blue skinned aliens.
they're not really they're not he's not an avatar like the Avatar movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I got you. I got you. I got you. So now talking Gerard, man, talking mimetic theory, and anthropology and everything, right? Um, because we talk about Christianity, and Gerard takes the whole thing of like when Christians debate the whole thing of the Eucharist, and eating of the bread
yeah,
and everything, he said, Christians are right to say, because they say, oh, why would you eat, you know, the bread if it's a real body, if it represents the real body or if it's really the body of Christ, right? Isn't
yeah,
that cannibalism? And Gerard
yeah.
would say Christians are right to say it is. It
Yeah,
sounds taboo, right? It sounds
right.
taboo, but it's only because um we have we're not because we don't live in a pre-Christian society. So it just sound either either we haven't paid attention to it enough because we were born into that. We were born into that. And that's everybody here, they say, okay, yeah, this is the body of Christ, this is the blood of Christ. But we, like I said, we take it for granted. It's like, yeah, this is the body and blood of Christ. But when you stop and think, like, oh, I'm eating the flesh of Christ, right? I'm drinking his blood. You know, does that does that hit home with say people in India, like recognizing that, like, okay, this is the body and blood of Christ. It's not just a symbol. It's not just a, you know, um, I mean, how do they feel about that? Like, what is the,
It feels like a complete, for me at least. I can only guess as to what others think.
yeah,
You have to realize not many Hindus know about the sacraments deeply that much,
okay.
but those who do know, I was one of them.
Hmm.
It's a complete reversal of what goes on in Hinduism.
Hmm.
So in Hinduism, like I said, it's a sacrificial religion.
Hmm.
There are many historical instances of human sacrifices that occurred in Hinduism. Some
Hmm.
of these temples you can still see today.
Hmm.
So in Hinduism and generally in Hinduism, you have this concept of prasadam,
Okay.
right? Prasadam means
Okay.
offering to God,
Okay.
right? So in some areas of some instances, historically, those offerings were literally human
Hmm.
sacrifices.
Hmm.
And if there aren't any human sacrifices in modern day India, human sacrifices are like virtually non-existent. You
Hmm.
can still find it from time to time, but it's more of a like a cultish.
mm,
occurrence, you know. It's
mm.
not mainstream.
Yeah,
So the mainstream version of the prasadam or the offering has to do with offering God deities, sweets, or fruits,
yeah.
or grains of rice,
Yeah.
those kind of thing.
Milk
In
and
Christianity,
ghee.
when I learned about the Eucharist,
Hmm.
I've always thought of the Eucharist from a Hindu perspective as like the prasadam, but it's coming from God to humanity as opposed
Okay.
to from humans to God.
Yeah.
So it's like the Eucharist is Christ offering himself to
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah.
Like this
Which I
get
mean,
this,
I mean, theologically, I mean, and I mean, he is in a,
right.
in a Christian sense, he is offering.
Like yeah, he is
You know.
offering, and theologically, I'm just generalizing here, so
Mhm.
don't feel free to correct me.
Mhm.
But theologically, like during the course of the liturgy, the priest offers the bread and the wine
Mhm.
to God, and though that bread and the wine is then transformed
Mhm.
into the body and blood of Christ, right?
Yeah. The
So
transubstantiation.
yeah, and even from the Protestant perspective, if you like don't believe in transubstantiation,
Mhm.
you're still remembering the sacrifice that had occurred,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So basically, what's happening here is that we are offering, we are approaching God
Mhm.
like the pagans of old,
Mhm.
and we are giving like the Hindu offers prasad
Mhm.
to the deity.
Mhm.
We are offering the bread and the wine, right?
Okay. Mhm. Mhm.
But God, what he does is he transforms our offering
Mhm.
into his body and blood,
Mhm.
right? So this is just me speaking here, and I'm sure a lot of wise Hindus will also be able to make this connection. No such transformation occurs in Hinduism.
Okay.
In Christianity, like, this is the beauty of Christianity. Is this is how we really know Christianity is a universal religion.
Mhm.
It's because in Christianity, what we are offering to God, God is redeeming that offering, and He is able to redeem us through that offering.
Okay. Okay.
You get
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
That's a good one.
so this is
Okay.
how the even the old sacrificial religions,
Yeah.
or the ancient sacrificial religions, are redeemed by
Mhm.
Christianity, by Christ.
Mhm.
Christ
Mhm.
redeems. He takes away the sacrifice. He takes away that element of the offering
Yeah.
which makes us the sacrifice,
Yeah.
and he turns it around in such a way that he becomes the sacrifice, and we are beneficiaries of that sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah. And so why did that strike you as so important when comparing that, say, to, Hinduism? I mean, here's the other thing, man, because I'm sorry. I won't get off tangent. We'll stick with that one, then I'll ask you that afterwards. So why do you see that as so pivotal when thinking about Christianity? Is it because in Hinduism there isn't any offering of the gods to 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 mankind, and that's like the Indian gods
So
don't feel a thing.
you're
Yeah.
talking about whether self-sacrifice exists in Hinduism, in Hindu, from the Hindu divinity.
No, I mean, like, okay, Christ is sacrificing his life for, for us, and we are participating in that, redemption, right? Or we are being redeemed through that, participating in the Eucharist, right? Do do Hindus believe that their gods are being sacrificial at all, or they don't have to, like the
They
gods are not sacrificial?
they believe that it's a transactional thing,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
If you offer devotion to God,
Hmm.
In the Hindu framework, if you offer devotion to the gods,
Hmm.
then the gods will do something for you.
Okay.
So
So it's
this
is
is
a
why,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, this is why you see a lot of Hindus even in churches.
Hmm.
They have that transactional mindset
Hmm.
where they believe that if you light a candle in a church,
Hmm.
God might bless them
Hmm.
to go through the exams,
Hmm.
or to do or get them a job,
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So it's a transactional thing, and of course, in Christianity, we do pray for to God for those sorts of things. But this kind of radical self-offering that Christ does for the salvation of humanity, that is off the charts when it comes to Hinduism.
And that probably leads back to the whole thing of the caste, and it's your duty. You must
Yeah,
do these. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
because
Now.
you see,
Yeah.
like a lot of people think like because they have a transactional mindset.
Hmm.
uh, if if you approach a Hindu and you tell him that here's something great, you don't have to be enslaved to this kind of system.
Hmm.
You can be free from it.
Hmm.
So you'll have to explain to him what are the strings that are attached. Like
Okay.
is there a catch in it? And
Yeah.
then you say no, there's no catch in it. You just
Yeah.
have to believe that he died for your sins and so
Yeah.
that kind of and he says, you're joking. Tell me what you're really what you're really selling me,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, do I have to sell part of my soul? Do I have to do so many things? Do I have to do so many prostrations or
Right.
whatever? you
Right.
know
Yeah.
so that the absence of that, it totally,
It's not there. Right.
it's
Right.
the absence of this transactional mindset. It flies over the head of Hindus. They
Right.
can't
Right.
they can't they can't comprehend it.
Yeah. They don't believe in it. They said nothing is free.
Yep, nothing is free. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's how I'll tell you what. That's how a lot of Americans believe. We're starting to think that now. It's like, nothing is free, man.
Well, he says it's like, to be fair, it's not something that is new. It has always existed in
Yeah,
human beings. It's part
right,
of our fallenness.
right, right.
It's because we are fallen, that we expect that like we have to be in servitude or indebted to somebody to be beneficiaries or
Yeah,
something. And
yeah.
that's the thing. That's if you look at it anthropologically. Let's
Hmm.
take Japan for instance.
Hmm.
An Indian society has this too, to an extent.
Hmm.
In Japanese societies, if you screw up, that's a big no-no. You bring shame not only upon yourself, but you bring shame upon your entire family,
Hmm.
your entire lineage.
Hmm.
If you,
Hmm.
let's say, make a blunder at your workplace,
Hmm.
you bring shame on your entire family.
Okay.
That's what they have.
Yeah.
So in that sense, a lot of pagan societies, I suppose, can technologically progress.
Hmm.
But the thing that makes it easier for Western societies is a concept of grace.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
Even if you do screw up, you can still go to the priest and confess.
Right.
You can still,
Reconciliation.
there's like you're not outcast for life.
Yeah.
You're not completely
Yeah.
expelled from polite society. There's still a way, and that's why like as hard as we go on the American culture from time to time,
Hmm.
one of the beautiful thing about American culture is the redemption thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. A lot of people do come back into like a lot of people do come back from being cancelled,
Hmm.
so and so forth.
Yeah.
They do
Yeah.
come back into good graces of,
Yeah.
of the
There's
general
def
public.
there's definitely I think there's definitely a sense of what's that passage? I want to say it's Luke 15. It's the prodigal son.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. There's definitely that aspect. I think that especially um Americans, we take we kind of really take that seriously, that like,
Yeah.
you can have a new a new start, you know. And that kind of leads me to this question about baptism, right? And like, because Christians, we believe that, unless you're baptized, by water, that you're not um it's part of one of the sacrament, it's one of the sacraments, right, to be baptized. So, you know, um I know in the Hindu belief, and I think this is true with Buddhism and maybe Jainism, that the whole thing of reincarnation, or like rebirth or whatever. Does does when Christians are trying to explain to Hindus the whole thing of baptism and everything, do they often refer to, like, would they often refer to reincarnation, or to say like, okay, you if you're baptized, you have a new birth or something? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I don't.
Yeah, it's just one of the things like a lot of like if you go to the Indian city of Banaras, Varanasi,
Mhm,
it's a very famous religious place in India.
mhm,
It's a city situated on the bank of the river Ganges, the
mhm,
river Ganga,
mhm,
right? And for the Hindus, it's a notoriously dirty place, unfortunately,
mhm,
because of so many people bathing in there. Even dead
mhm,
bodies are being submerged into that into the bank of the water.
mhm, mhm,
So the thing about like you can say like this is not just uh, you can see how Christ makes the connection between ancient religions and Christianity with baptism, what you alluded to.
mhm.
So a lot of Christians will be scandalized by this, unfortunately, because Christians don't like to make that connection between paganism and Christianity.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you tell a Christian, if you tell like a fundamentalist or somebody like that, will
yeah,
object to this. No, we don't share anything in common
yeah,
with those pagans.
yeah,
And I think they do a disservice to that. This is what Girard also
yeah,
objected to.
yep,
The
yep,
similarities between the gospel and the mythologies.
yes,
So what I was going to say about the like in ancient times, people had this notion of being cleansed by water,
hmm
right?
hmm
Being cleansed by water, and that's why Hindus clean themselves, or like pray in the river Ganges,
yeah,
and in Christianity, that cleansing of water is baptism,
right,
right?
right, right,
So, like I said, with the Eucharist,
hmm
uh, Christ, and we have to like be very, very generous, with the ancient religions in this.
hmm
Christ redeems a lot of a lot of the differing aspects of ancient religions. He
hmm
strips away the sacrificial element from
hmm
these ancient rituals
hmm
and re-Christianizes them. He
yeah,
he
yeah,
he refreshes these ancient rituals
right, right,
and makes it so that it is effective.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. It's sort of like shifts the intent,
yeah,
or something like
shift
that.
the
Yeah,
intent. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
like Christ, like God. For me, at least, God knows the intentions of the ancient pagans.
yeah. Hmm
Like, yeah, sure, there is that sacrificial aspect of the ancient pagans where they are they want to maintain the order of society even if it costs them a murder or two,
hmm hmm
even
hmm
if it requires violence. But Christ knows the hearts of the ancient people. He knows the hearts of these people who had tried to reach out through him to various literature, poems,
yeah,
what have you.
yeah,
And he sees that and he takes that and he makes it brand new.
yeah,
He completely redeems these things.
yeah,
Like a lot of the saints in Catholic and Orthodox churches
hmm
bear pagan names,
hmm
like Saint Dionysius,
hmm
like Saint Apollonius. That, so
hmm
like Lord, there are many. You can just find a whole
Yeah.
calendar of
Saint
them.
Augustine.
Say yeah, like
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are pagan names, but
Yeah.
Christ makes these names holy.
Right.
Like if today, if any one of us gets baptized, we don't say, that's a pagan name, I won't take
Right.
it.
Right.
No, we say that's a name of a saint. If
Yeah.
that name has been redeemed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
was like that. At 25th, they had what, so winter solstice or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that got redeemed. It's no
Yeah.
longer a sacrificial holiday. It's a holiday where we celebrate the birth of our Lord.
Yeah.
So that's how Christ redeems a lot of these pagan mysteries, if you will. He
Yeah.
redeems. He takes paganism,
hmm
he grabs paganism as it drowns in the ocean, and he brings it up and he
Yeah.
makes the paganism brand new. He puts a fresh clothes
Yeah.
on it, and
Yeah.
totally makes him a handsome guy,
Yeah.
and attractive guy.
Yeah.
That's why,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is literally true what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because look at these movies like Clash of the Titans, or
hmm
Thor, all of these movies.
hmm hmm
These, like, if you I bet you a bottom dollar, like if you would be reading the classical mythologies as they were in the ancient times,
hmm
you would probably say, that guy is a serial rapist,
Yeah.
Zeus,
Yeah.
or like Thor or whatever. But now
Yeah.
they are like made, thanks to Christian culture, they have been redeemed in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And turned into heroes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true, man. What does the Bible say? Even though your garments are filthy or something, I will make them as white as snow.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
that's the thing, bro. It's like, that's why we shouldn't, like, that's what Girard asked, that we should not shy away
Yeah.
from making that connection between paganism and Christianity.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually to our detriment if we do
Yes.
that.
I believe that too. I believe that too. And yeah, and that's true. He did say that because he said, Christians they're very careful to not uh to not see the comparison because it seems too
Yeah,
taboo, you know. But my thing is it's like, but that's the way that we got out of that. That's the way humans got out of that sacrificial mechanism. Is because Christianity was able to utilize, the the um it's pre the pre whatever pre cultures
yeah,
things and it's sort of universal because I mean if you think about purification you think about people bathing and stuff you see that in just about every culture they all
yeah,
bathe there's some sort of ritual cleansing with water you know what I mean kind of like a new birth and everything and then you talk about like the sacraments and how all these things become like they're sacred you know what I mean
yeah.
and all of that right and so yeah man I mean I really think that I think that that's fascinating it I wonder because we Westerners we're very we like we like the Indian culture we like Asian stuff I don't we like anime that's a big thing
Right.
you know what I mean and all that right
Yeah,
but and even like because I talk to some of my friends who practice other religions and stuff like that and I always tell them I say like this I say I believe that any other religion that you would try to convert to or move towards other than Christianity has already been affected by Christianity.
yeah.
Right?
I
It's,
mean, look at yoga.
yeah. Yeah.
I had the yoga pants,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I mean? Or take for instance the fact that like some of the rituals that would have gone on in the past most people in most countries denounce any of that. Like there's no human sacrifice. That's out. You know what I'm saying? And if you do that, like that's you're going, you know what I'm saying? You're done, right? So, but why is that? That's because of Western society. You know what I mean? That's because of
Yeah,
Christianity. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That the sacrificial, the literal uh sacrifice is not there anymore, right?
right.
Because now people see that as like, oh, that's totally messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
How could you even fathom to do something like that? You know what I mean? But before, nobody thought of it as weird. Nobody thought of it as strange. You know what I mean? They just thought of it as being like this is necessary. You know what I mean? The gods
yeah.
demand this. You know what I mean? So that's that's um that's something to think about, brother. That's something to think about. We're gonna have to do a part two of this, man. 'Cause I got like
Yeah,
I don't know how many questions. I could talk for days about this. But yeah, man,
yeah,
let's do this again, bro. Let's do this again, man.
yeah. Anytime, anytime.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for joining me today, bro.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks,
Okay.
thanks for having me on.
For sure, for sure. Peace, brother.